everyone. This is Tony Crossbody on What a Week, the show where we discuss the week's topics. And normally I am joined by my sidekick, Mr. C, but he's on his way, so we're looking forward to him joining us shortly. Tonight we have a very special guest, a musical titan on the reggae broadcasting scene. We all know him from Choice FM Radio. I'd like to introduce the man, Daddy Ernie.
Good evening. Hey, it's a pleasure being here, Tony. How are you?
Oh, well, brother, I'm well. I was so excited when I heard that you were coming on the show. I was so excited. There's so many things to talk about. And we want to sort of explain to the viewers, obviously, one of the reasons why you're here has to do with the fact that very soon we are going to be commemorating Choice FM Radio by means of a plaque. So can you talk us tell us a little bit about that?
All right. Well, a little brief history on it. What was happening, Tony, is that I felt personally that Choice was kind of being extinguished from the radio community. Because every time I put Choice in Google, the information was very, very small. There was hardly anything there. And it was just going to this capital extra that they've created. So I said to myself, no, Choice was a significant station. This year's its 30th anniversary. So it's only right that we mark the occasion with a blue plaque, a lasting memory of a station, let's face it, changed radio industry in a very significant way. And even today, the way it's changed it, it's still relevant today. So I thought we needed a lasting legacy, hence the blue plaque. So I got together with Wayne Turney, who is the last man standing out of the original Choice FM crew. He's the last man standing, who is currently working in the global building from Choice days. We got together, we talked it over, and we said, right, let's do this. It's taken a little while. It was supposed to happen in March, but obviously because of COVID, we couldn't do it in March. So we kind of reactivated it March, April. About May, we reactivated it. Drew in a few more people, got, some people to do the social media. Nubian Jack, who's responsible for putting up plaques for the black community. He came in, of course, even more than he did before. And we just got a great team together. And we've done a GoFundMe page. We linked it with the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust, who will be benefiting from any funds that is left over. And I think there will be a substantial amount of funds left over. And we've raised the money for the blue plaque. So we're all set to go. This Sunday, we had a fantastic time. We had a walk, which traced the route of Choice from Trinity Gardens to Borough High Street to Leicester Square. And then we said we're going back home to Trinity Gardens. So we've completed that circle. And now it's just put up the plaque in October, which we are looking forward to. So that's a basic outline of what we're doing, Tony. Fantastic.
Right. Wonderful. No, that's wonderful. Can you just remind us what year was Choice FM sold and became Capital Extra?
Well, we moved from Brixton to Borough High Street in 2009. And then we went to Leicester Square in 2013 when Capital bought us. But at the time Capital bought us, one of the saddest things for me is that I believe if Capital wasn't in the turmoil that they were in when they bought us, we would have been even more of a major player because they really believed in Choice. But what happened, this group called the GWR Group bought out Capital, and they really wasn't really into what we was doing on Choice. They kind of just left us to just do our own thing. And eventually they got bought out by Global Radio. which is just mega. Ashley Tabor and the Tabor crew recruited all the old Capital people, and really, once again, they weren't paying much interest to us because they had a major plan, which you see now that they got Heart, they've got Smooth, they've got all these stations up and down the country. That was their major thing. But somewhere along the line, once again, they couldn't understand Choice. So they thought that they'd cut Choice, Capital Extra, do it the way they want to do it. And that was it, really. And what really, I didn't mind that, but what really hurt me was that the way that they done it, because the Voice newspaper got hold of the story and was going to break it on the Thursday. So they brought us in they called us on the Wednesday, said, you got to come down, boom, 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 boom. We come down Thursday morning, they dropped the bombshell. They're going to cut Choice over the weekend. It's going to be Capital Extra on the Monday. So obviously they had the plan in the can. So that was the bit that hurt me. But after that, it didn't matter. My main thing was to have a lasting memory. And we managed to do that. And the plaque will be up there. And that will be the lasting legacy of Choice FM.
Right. Because it did seem to me, and I think other listeners, when you guys went over to Capital Extra, that slowly but surely you were going to be absorbed as part of the system, and then basically one by one phased out as far as a Choice FM team. That's what sort of came over to me, to me listening to it. Almost as if, I'm surprised that you say that Capital Extra were looking to make it work or part of the plan, because it seemed to me as if there seemed to be a plan of just phasing that whole urban music thing.
It wasn't Capital Extra, it was Capital Radio.
Right.
Capital Extra came after. You had Capital Radio, who bought Choice. GWR Group bought Capital Radio, and Global Radio bought GWR Group.
Right.
And it was Global that got rid of Choice and created Capital Extra.
Right.
That's how it went. So there weren't no Capital Extra in the beginning. That was a global invention.
Yes.
Or creation, whatever you want to call it. Hey, it's this group, Global Radio, there's only two groups. There's Bauer and Global. They control the majority of radio in Britain. They're very, very powerful. So once they were up and running and they decided, look, the old model is not what we want. We're going to go with a new model, get rid of Choice, Capital Extra, up and running. Boom. It's their station. We can't really do nothing about it. So, and that's what I said when I left. I said, look, it's your station. You're creating a new station. You do what you want to do with it. See you later. Just went through the door. No problem.
And that was that was the end of an era.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know you from Choice FM. You made your name in the minds and hearts of a lot of people with your Super Jam show. I personally remember you from LWR days and Time FM and all the sort of headaches.
Showing your age now, Tony. You're showing your age. LWR once again was a magnificent project. Zach, in the latter part of the 80s, you've got DBC, the station called DBC.
That's right.
Who widely regarded as the first black radio station. But for me, LWR was really the first black station. It was huge. It was enormous.
Right.
And we was part of that for about 8 years. Why I ended up at Time was because the government said that it wasn't. What happened was that I kept on going over to South London after a while. I'd get over there, and the station would be off. The radio authority would knock it off, and in the end, I kind of got a bit fed up. So I thought, let me go somewhere nearer home, and I ended up at Time. But that was just for about 6 months or so, because the government said if you're broadcasting as a pirate, you won't be able to go on legal radio. And of course, we'd heard about Choice, and I wanted to be on Choice, so I came off of Time And in the end, it didn't really matter because they took presenters who were broadcasting illegally anyway. So it didn't matter. I could have stayed, but one of them things, isn't it?
Right. And of course, I mean, that's where I first sort of came across you, and I followed you all the time because I mean, I liked your style, the music you played, and your vibe. But your musical history goes way before that. When did you first sort of take your first steps professionally in getting involved in broadcasting? Were you in the sound or something like that? Did you start off in sound?
Yeah, we had our little sound from school days. I mean, I had our first, if you can call it a sound system, was a little HMV record player with 2 boxes and 2 knobs, basically. And then we progressed from there. We got a linear 50-watt amplifier, and we got ourselves a turntable, a couple of boxes. And our first sort of sound system was called President Downbeat, which was myself, my brother, my friend Granty, Harold, the 4 of us, and we had President Downbeat, and it was all right, nice little party sound in our teenage years. And then Hawkeye Records came along and we progressed, and then we got Hawkeye International, which was a big sound in its own right. Plenty of girls followed it, and we just had a crack, really. It was just a great laugh. And then, from there, I ended up getting on the radio.
You got involved in the record shop, Hawkeye Records?
Yeah, Hawkeye Records, yeah. So the sound system was really... we got the name Hawkeye Records because I was working at Hawkeye. And we created Hawkeye International. So it gave us a little bit more kudos because, as you know, Hawkeye Records was at the forefront of reggae music in the 80s. There was a lot more to Hawkeye Records than just the shop. Most of these places, the dub vendors and people of that ilk, really own their business really to Hawkeye, because he was the one who was bringing in all the tunes them from Jamaica. All major tunes was coming in from Jamaica, came through Hawkeye Records in Halston. I don't think a lot of people really know what Hawkeye Records really represented within the music fraternity. Don't want to give you too much because I've got a book coming and it will all be in the book.
Well, I know from my understanding that King Jammies was a regular visitor to your place when he was in town, when he was looking for equipment. I was reading somewhere in an interview how he used to spend a lot of time in Hawkeye. So I recall how big Hawkeye was. It was one of the big boys in terms of distribution and record shop. So yeah. So basically, from there, you basically did someone sort of poach you into broadcasting, or did you sort of
let me tell you briefly what happened. Me and Tim Westwood was very good friends, right? And he said to me, he was on LWR, but it was kind of a poppy station, but he had a hip hop show on there, and there was an odd little reggae show here and there. And he said to me, Ernie, come over to LWR, man. I'll get you a job on there. So we went down to LWR and I met this guy, Zach, who I've never known in my life, come from Nigeria, but he had heard about me. And he said, yeah, man, just come on. It was just like that. He said, just reach. You know what I mean? Hence, we was, and that's how my radio career started. By just Tim saying, come to LWR. You know, and I've been fortunate because I worked for LWR, which was a black radio station, and I worked for Choice, which is a black radio station, and now I work for Vibes, which is a black radio station, and I'm happy about that.
Right. Welcome, Mr. C. You made it.
Big up yourself, man.
You've got the legendary Daddy Ernie. A couple of comments. Aiel says, evening, Daddy Ernie. I remember listening to you when I was a child.
That's right, no problem. I'm still a child. Then he's probably still listening to me.
And says, thank you, Daddy Ernie, for all the good music, all the good times. You know, so I mean, you know, your contribution, Ernie, has not been forgotten. Absolutely not.
Well, I hope so. You know, even now, I still get a great enjoyment out of doing it. Even today, you know, we come from an era where music was our whole livelihood. It was our life. You know what I mean? You'll know that we've all got the stories of the Sunday morning with the blue spot or whatever, mummy and daddy playing their tunes and coming right the way through. It was only today, actually, that I was thinking to myself, we're very fortunate, our age group, because we've got a selection that mummy and daddy had. Then we've got our selection, which is the Lovers Rock selection. We got the dancehall selection. We got the yard lovers. We have got like 50, approaching 60 years of music, not including your Motowns and your Stacks and all the rest of them. So we're very fortunate that we have a wealth of music history.
Right. Now I know we don't have much time because you've got to run soon. But just very quickly before you go, give us a quick synopsis of what you think about the standard of reggae music today, and particularly the dance.
Big question for you, Ernie. Big question.
No, it's not a big question. It ain't a big question, Mr. C. You know what happened? Let me tell you. Right?
Go on.
Generations move. All right? Now, because of what I do, I go into certain dances. So I will go to a revival dance, and I will go to a bashment dance. And when I go to Jamaica, I go to the hardest core dances, right? So you've got your youths nowadays; they've got their thing going on, and in amongst that, there's some fantastic tunes. You know, a lot of people. I just tell you one artist that a lot of people fight against: Vybz Kartel.
Okay.
I can play you a selection of Vybz Kartel. You would not even believe it's Vybz Kartel. You understand what I'm saying? So it's for us to pick out the goodness that we like.
Cartel, because when I look at singing it, a white man.
He's what?
When I look at the person singing it, am I going to be thinking that who is this? It's a white man.
Well, you're not. Well, no. Well, that's a different argument. That's what you know. It's like Michael Jackson, isn't it? What they want to do to themselves.
He's gone back now. He's gone back black now. The colours come back.
What they want to do to themselves is their own personal choice. But I'm talking about the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seriously, I mean, I've just picked out Vybz Kartel. You know, people who say Mavado's rubbish. Honorable Munga is rubbish. I play those artists. I play the best of those artists. And it's for you to know what is good and what is bad. You're not going to get me playing hardcore Vybz Kartel. That's not me. That ain't me. But I will play the best of Vybz Kartel, the best of Munga, the best of, well, I was going to say Buju, but Buju is quite good now. You know what I mean? Although he made a couple of tunes the other day that I thought to myself, aha, easy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, isn't it interesting?
What we got to do?
He has now started to introduce a couple of F words in his songs that he didn't before, which I've noticed is quite interesting. Perhaps it's to keep up with the trend of the music that's coming out.
What happened? He had come out. And he just thought I'd just fly in a couple of little rude boy things. But if you listen to his album is Buju, innit?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people have negative things to say about today's music. I think personally that we have got a wealth of talent. It's just for people to enhance, and the ones that they like, they play them or they listen to them. Don't listen to someone that you don't like. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's enough people now playing reggae, right? Or dancehall who would not be playing that 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
So that tells you all you need to know.
I think the other bright spot is the fact that youngsters like Chronix, Protege, Lila Aniki, these are Savannah. These artists are now holding the torch and making some good quality reggae music.
Well, hold on a minute.
No,
Don't get caught up in the
quality
narrative.
all reggae music is good quality
No.
music. What I understand is that there may be some types of reggae music which is not our type of music that we like to listen to, but we can't
Right.
of it.
When I talk, listen, man. When I talk about quality, I'm referring to the message in the music. That's probably where I'm coming from, and those.
But there's a lot of artists. There's a lot of artists outside of them that you've named that's got message in their music.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You listen to my show on Vibes when you get a time and see what's going on. Right across the board. Right now, in my opinion, Chronixx has made 2 tunes. Here Comes Trouble and Skanking Sweet is his 2 biggest tunes. He's struggling to find another album.
Yeah, but
you listen to all the tunes Chronixx has put out since his last album and tell me.
But I think that's the same with all musicians. All musicians, you cannot keep up that level, that standard, have hit after hit after hit after hit. Every album's gonna have, every single track on that album is gonna be a banger. So I don't think no artist really manages to do that. Even like when you look at somebody like as big as we mentioned Michael Jackson already. There's some tunes on what's the one, Black or White, Bad. There's some tunes on that where they would never get played. You know, even on Thriller, there's 1 or 2 tunes on there we never play them. So you know, it happens with all musicians, I think.
Yeah. But you know, there's a narrative that there's this new wave of artists coming out of Jamaica with this roots sound. Roots music has never gone away. You go back from far, or even go back to 1990 when Till Shiloh and Luciano's album come out, Where There Is Life. Same thing they were saying. There's a new roots movement. There's no new roots movement. It's just evolved. That's all. It's just evolved. It never went nowhere. Dancehall, dancehall has changed a little bit. They're going a little bit hip hoppy and that, but there is still some good hardcore dancehall tunes. Just like there's good lovers. You know what I mean? So I don't follow the narrative because the people who are feeding us the narrative don't look like me and you.
Right. And Daddy, last question before you leave. What's the UK reggae scene like now from your perspective?
That's a. I tell you what, we've got some good UK reggae artists, right? The mistake that the UK reggae scene made, it didn't move with the times. Hence, we don't have a lot of UK videos. So when it all changed, and you can get a video now from Jamaica that looks like it was made in Hollywood. There's no UK, apart from Maxi Priest and people like that, there's no street level videos. And that's been the problem with UK reggae music for the past 20 odd years. I'll give you a little history. I used to do UK reggae night on a Wednesday when I was on Choice. It had the lowest figures in the history of Choice. Had to take it off.
Wow.
They said, "What you doing?" Nobody ain't listening. You know what I'm saying? Wow. There is some good reggae. There is some good UK lovers tune, but you play them in a dance, and if it's not 6th Street or one of them kind of tunes, people stand up and look at you like, Daddy Ernie's gone mad. Got to support the thing, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think we have to come back and have a discussion.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I've got 5 minutes before.
Thank you very much for the short time you were able to spend with us and giving us some of your experience. Come back again.
That's a
wonderful the choice with Black, very good, and well done, Ern, for putting that. And
big up Mr. C, because Mr. C started when Choice was on. All them money, all them comedians and everybody all started when their career started when Choice was on, and they're still doing their thing. So big them up as well, man. There's a whole group of us that moved together in that.
We got Mr. C, and he still looks the same.
No, he doesn't. He looks worse.
Daddy Ernie, thank you so much, bro.
You look like Joe Knight.
It was a pleasure having you on the show.
No problem. We'll talk again, and then we'll come back next evening and have a little discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that. Thanks again. Yeah. Mr. C. Well, he's gone. Okay, so yeah, that was interesting. We were hoping that that conversation with Daddy Ernie would last a bit longer. I had so many questions to ask him about state of reggae music, both in the UK and JA and in Europe, in fact. And unfortunately, obviously, I think because he's doing his show, we're not able to get to ask him. But we'll get him back on here, because one of the subjects I want to talk about with Daddy Ernie relates to that stirring debate that me and Mr. C had a few weeks ago concerning a certain Mr. Rodigan, who received an award from Jamaica that was only designed for Jamaicans. And I wanted to see what his take was on it, and basically whether or not he felt that was fair, and wanted to talk about his accomplishments, what awards he received. But we can sort of touch on that subject another time. So Mr. C still obviously having technical problems. I'm here, and what are we talking about this week? Well, we've got a couple of issues that came up. Who saw the Mr. C? You there? I can.
Yes, man. Sorry,
you got a bit of technical issues tonight.
I'm gonna just. But yeah, the phone I keep on getting phone calls coming into the phone, so it's
cutting out. Right. I was just about to talk about I can't really, the brother's name escapes me, on Britain's Got Talent wearing his T-shirt Black Lives Matter, and the criticism he got for that. What did you think of that?
No, what I didn't actually see it. I heard one or two things about. it, but yeah, man, I think it's beautiful that they did a lovely tribute to Black Lives Matter. I heard there was a few complaints.
Right.
And the fact that complaints, it sweet me even more, Tony. I was like, good.
Yeah. And it's always interesting. It's always interesting when you get the complaints. That's what the media focus on, don't they? They focus on the amount of complaints Ofcom received for his T-shirt. No, Mr. C still frozen. Yeah, so they focus on basically what what the complaints were with Ofcom, and it just kind of goes to show, we're still not arrived at that point, have we? Even though we're in a season where sort of black people are sort of being more vocal about what's going on in their communities, what's happening to them in the streets, wearing a BLM T-shirt will still leave you open to accusations. I mean, it's still, it just goes to show that we still have a very long way to go. If you didn't realize, in America right now, there are riots starting to break out in a number of cities. We're not actually seeing that on our news broadcasts, but believe you me, riots are spreading over in America. And of course, the reason being is for the number of black men that have been shot by police officers, as well as, of course, protests by the Black Lives Matter movement, and obviously some agitators, which is creating a situation where I think many Americans now are becoming very fearful as to the state of their country. And for those of you who've been sort of following the news at least a little bit with regard to America, America is divided by so many different angles. Democrat, Republican, black, white, rich, poor, perhaps the have-nots, that, we are starting to see getting a little bit out of control, and I'm not sure where this is all going to go. Mr. C, you there?
Yes, man. Again,
yeah, so I was just quickly just telling the viewers about what's going on in the States right now with regard to some of the rioting that are breaking out in various cities because of these police shootings. Where do you, I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with the news, but where do you think this is all going to go with regard to, black people particularly?
I think there's a way how it can go. Like the protests get much structured, and it has to lead to a change of law. It really does, because it's like, it almost feels like George Floyd's body is still warm and we're still seeing the brutalization and the ill treatment of black people by the police force. And then again, you know, we're seeing on the other side of that as well. We're seeing the things like where, you know, where somebody goes and shoots up somewhere, they kill 7 people, and the police are so polite with them. You know, sit down. You want a cup of tea, man? Can we bring you a burger, sir? You know, it's like we can see the differences in the way how both sets of society are being treated. And yeah, man, I feel like we're saying it's enough. It's definitely enough. It's not happening anymore. You know, so I think the protesting will get stronger and stronger, and I think that, you know, the level of the protesting is going to get a little bit more intense as the months go on. And I think, you know, hopefully by December, if there's not some kind of legal change, then we will see some drastic action, I think, being taken by people of color and those who support the injustice, what's happening for black people in America, for them to join in and actually escalate the protesting and yeah, something has to change, something has to give.
Where could that be, though? Because the reality is that we don't really hold the levers of power, right, to make the necessary changes. Do you think that perhaps the protesting, the rioting could sort of bring the country to its knees, where the leaders sort of reconsider their policies? What do you think of that?
Well, look, it's not going to bring the country to its knees, because we don't know that the blacker the protesting gets, the more ignorant Donald Trump is going to get, because that's one thing he's not going to do. He's not going to allow himself to bow down to the pressure of black people telling him, the president, what to do. So he's going to resist, and he's going to come the other way. And this is where it's going to become problematic, and it's going to come on top, because we've seen already he's quick to use the National Guard. And, you know, again, even when the mayor in Washington, certain decisions, that really aggravated, and he literally tried to, you know, overturn what the mayor of Washington had decreed. So I think that as we as black people escalate this, then Donald Trump he's gonna resist it with all his force and all his might, and that's what's gonna make things problematic, I feel.
Right. And Royette says change has to happen from the top. We need policy change. The man kept us down by putting by policy. He's kept us down by policy. It's the only way to make a difference. So policy change. And Royette lives in the States, so she has a first-hand view of what's going on there. So it's policy change. But the question is, who's going to bring that policy? Because we have an election coming up in November. I saw reports that Donald Trump said basically if he loses, he's not coming out of the White House. I heard Joe Biden and Kamala Harris say, look, if we lose, we're not going to accept a Trump win. So what we've got there is pretty much a stalemate at the top.
No, definitely. The way I look at it is that I feel that it's time for change in America. No, it's time for change in America. It's time for them to put this history behind them. You know, hold on to your Confederate flags and shout out, yeah! It's time to put it away. It's time to put it down now. You know what I mean? It's like even for the most homophobic of us who want to call people this a man and that a man and a talkie. We've had to put it down. It's a new time. It's a new day and era. And I think the same way how we've embraced all the colors of the rainbow, there's one color that we haven't embraced as a society, and that's black. It's time to embrace it. Time to embrace it. Simple as.
Yeah. Interesting view. So just moving on to another topic. Perhaps we can show it on the screen. Had reports of a COVID spike in town. So the government is set to crack down on young people spreading COVID after Britain reports 80 more deaths in the biggest spike for 6 weeks. So where do you think the government are aiming? They're looking at young people. They're looking at what? The gatherings? Do you think it's the raves that they're having? What's causing this?
They're clutching at straws, man. Doing, you know, they've been prophesizing this second for weeks, since July, the end of July. They've been talking about this second wave, and it hasn't come. The second wave hasn't come. when we was all out protesting. We said this week in, week out, it hasn't come. So what they're trying to do now, they're trying every little tactic to scaremonger people, you know. And now talking about young people, what, how?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The young people are the virus carriers, you know, and what evidence have they got to prove this?
Do you think that it's like it's a bit of scapegoating by the government to find someone to blame, so that more lockdown policies can come? What do you think that's there's an argument there? And can you hear me? Are you there? He's gone again. So the question I was asking was whether the government were looking to scapegoat young people as a reason why COVID-19 has been spiking in order to bring a lockdown. Of course, we've been subtly conditioned and prepared for a second wave. The summer is over and we're coming into autumn season, coming into flu season. So what do we think? Do we think that this is real, or is this something that the government's manufacturing in order to introduce new lockdown policies? See?
I think you hit it on the head, man. They use young people as scapegoat, most definitely. Because, you know, these increased numbers, have they gone to these people who are sick of COVID and said to them, you know, how did you catch it? How can you tell who's giving you COVID? How can you tell? How do you know to say that it was this young person who I passed on the street, or this young person who happens to be in my house? If that young person has shown no signs, how do you know that's how they caught it? So how can you identify the increase to now just being young people? If young people are not the ones who are actually dropping down from COVID, it makes no logical sense to me at all. But again, this is typical government spinning stories and spinning propaganda without no evidence, you know, no proof at all, and gullible people just buying this as being the gospel. There's no evidence behind it at all. I can see how you can attribute the so-called spike in COVID numbers to young people between the ages of 17 and 21. Because they're not the only ones who've been free to go about. You know, there've been lots of brunches happening. A lot of other people of all different age groups have been going out. You know, we've seen people of all different ages convening with each other in parks and open spaces and their social bubbles. So I don't think it's nothing to do with young people, me personally, at all.
Blossom Nation says the UK government has not been robust about combating COVID-19. I certainly would agree with that. You know, they're sort of dilly-dallying. Remember, at first there was all this argument about how masks are of no use, and then pretty much the COVID figures sort of leveled off. Now they want you to wear masks everywhere you go. I think the good thing is that you're starting to see people get a little fed up and tired of this now. You know, this sort of backwards and forwards. No real leadership as far as the government concerned on this, and it just seems, I get the impression that we're just being held up until this vaccine turns up. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah.
I don't know how you see it, but
yeah.
Can you hear Mr. C?
Yeah, no. I totally think. I think it is a delaying tactic for this for the. I mean, vaccine. Say, look, this is these problems. Here now.
Okay, so we're having gremlin issues tonight, which is giving me more air to speak. I can speak uninterrupted. I can do all the talking, and Mr. C now can't. You have to keep quiet because he can't get through. But yeah, that's what it looks like to me personally. It looks like the government is sort of dilly-dallying and just basically baying for time so that they can start introducing, you know, this vaccination in time, you know, in flu season, in time for flu shots. And of course, with the laws being amended to make it mandatory for people to take COVID shots, well, goodness knows where this is going to go. I think it is encouraging that there are some people who are sort of thinking for themselves and sort of looking at this and saying, this doesn't sound right. I don't know what your personal view is as a viewer. You may agree that it's right, but to me, something is extremely funny. But we're just gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. Anyway, our final topic today has to do with young black boys who take matters into their own hands as entrepreneurs. We have a video that we'd like to show you. It's going to make you feel very proud. Let's watch it.
Hi, I'm Elias. I'm 7 years old and I love science.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm 14 years old and I'm a dancer.
Hi, my name is Malachi and I'm 9 years old.
Hi, my name's Callum. I'm the CEO of a robotics business.
I'm Selena and I'm the founder of Coco magazine. It's been really exciting launching Coco Boy because if you look on the newsstands, there isn't really much boys magazines. Children who are black do not see themselves represented in the media. So Callum, you're going to be on the front cover of our October special Black History Month edition. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's really exciting. I can't wait.
Sometimes there's a lot of negativity to do with black boys, and we need to change that narrative so that they can grow up and become successful, so they can grow up and see that they can be anything they want to be.
I Code Robots teaches kids how to build and code robots. It will really inspire them into not stopping in their dreams ever. Just go for it, achieve.
As a black boy, it's quite inspirational to me to see people of my skin colour in magazines, black role models. I first started dancing when I was about 6. I was always quite a child that likes to move a lot, and then I discovered that dancing is my talent, and I haven't stopped ever since.
It is an opportunity for other children to see that they can achieve what they want to achieve as long as they put that work into it. And so that's why I chose to do this educational magazine, because we have to be constantly learning, constantly growing.
I want to be a scientist or a paleontologist. I'm in the Coco Boy magazine because I gave all my hair to charity. Not all of my hair, some of my hair.
I just think it would be really cool to be in a black boy magazine for the first time.
For me, the future is that these children that are in this magazine take over it and, basically produce the content that they want to see.
Oh, wow. That is
Fantastic, isn't it, Tony? Listen, the first time I saw that magazine, the first one I saw was for the girls, because there's one for the girls as well.
Right.
And I looked at that magazine and it absolutely blew. It made me wish I had a daughter, you see. But this one for the boys, man, it's just a wonderful idea. It just shows the beautifulness of blackness, man. I felt proud. And I wasn't even part of it.
You know what? I was thinking, how come no one's ever thought about that before? I mean, we often associate magazines with girls, isn't it? Because girls read magazines or whatever. One for black boys. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm wondering if they've got sort of any distribution deals to get them into sort of local newsagents. I wasn't able to find much information about it. Did you see anything about that?
No, I know they've got an Instagram page where where you can order direct from. I'm just going to try and look it up as we're talking to find out what the. Oh, gosh, it slipped my mind now. The handle. But yeah, I know they've got an Instagram page where you can subscribe to it and then you can find out all the information. But I think that magazine can sell globally.
Absolutely. And you got to commend the parents too, because of course, for that young man to sort of come up with this idea, I'm sure he had that support from his parents who said go for it. And for such a young man to have such a great entrepreneurial idea, it's incredible. I mean, as an adult, I'm sitting there almost feeling embarrassed, like, wow, he saw a niche in the market and realized there was nothing there for him and decided to set up something for his group. That's incredible. And the thing is so nice. It's so nice to be talking about positive accomplishments of our youth. Yeah. Because let's be honest,
100%.
for years we've been berating them, but because we've only been focusing on the negative side, and it's so great.
The little 5% of the bad breed, them. But there's so many of our young people doing wonderful things. I mean, like, you know, probably should get him. We should get him on as a guest. There's a guy, a friend and associate of mine called Julian Hall, and that's all he does. He devotes the whole of his time to helping young children become entrepreneurs. And he runs workshops. And listen, some of these youngsters, man, are amazing. They make big man like me, and you feel walkless.
Well,
What they're doing.
I feel like that already. I'm watching that video. We probably have to. We'll probably try and get him on the show because we really need to know. You know, we need to get our finger on the pulse to understand what's going on with the youngsters. What are they doing? You know, highlighting more of their accomplishments to show what can be done. And you know, the good thing about it is that they can be inspiring to other young people. Young people who are probably, I don't know what to do. But then you see this other person here coming up with all these ideas. It can be inspiring when you see someone of your own age group doing that.
And listen, when you think about it, like a lot of us as adults, when we have an idea, the first things what comes to us is the negativity. So the first thing is, I've got a good idea, and then it comes, why, I mean, I know me, I gotta do that. Then the second thing is, why, where am I gonna find the money if I gotta do that? But when you see a young man like this saying, you know, this is something I'm gonna do, there's none of those other negative worries, and that's why now things can be done. Because he's not thinking about where the money's going to come from. He's just thinking about, I've got an idea and I want to do it, and I'm going to do it. And I think, you know, this is a way that a way of thinking that a lot of us as adults need to start adopting. We need to start looking at the vibrant energy that our young people have and adopt it, man. Because I know there's going to be a couple of people who are watching this, and you know what's happening with the world now. There's going to be redundancies and people now, you know, losing jobs and getting probably a little settlement or a fairly good settlement, and thinking, oh, what am I going to do with my time? Now is the time to invest in you. Definitely, if this young man can do it with no big money in his pocket, you can do it with the settlement that you're going to get from your workplace. Or for those of you who've been on furlough for 6 months, or sit down at home and not do no work, and I get 80% of your money. Anyway, I digress.
And you know, we have to big up the supportive parents out there, those who are supporting their youngsters,
Definitely.
you know, in their dreams and their plans. You know, I mean, I can recall our generation when we were younger. You know, you wanted to play a musical instrument or you wanted to become a musician, go get a proper job. You know, your mum telling you, say, go get a proper job. Right, that ain't no type of. And then when you get famous, yes, I supported him all. I supported him all the way through when he was learning to play the piano. Like,
well, all I'm gonna say is my mother and father, when I brought the recorder home and I played Three Blind Mice, they knew that I was never gonna do anything musical in my life. So they told me that, listen, mate, don't bother bring that back inside the house. You leave that shit at school. Don't you be, you know. Sometimes you need parents to be real.
that's what you call constructive criticism, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's the Instagram. It's Coco Boy Magazine and Coco Girl Magazine. So that's the Instagram handles at Coco Boy Mag and at Coco Girl Mag. Thank you very much.
We'll have to check them out. Mr. C, I had visions of you walking up the stairs in your house playing Three Blind Mice terribly. And
listen, man. It was bad. It sounded a bit like Ferrer Jacques. The only people of a certain age will know that, you know. Shut up! I tried to watch the sports. All right, Dad. Get the message.
Yeah.
Well, man.
I know, but it's great. We encourage parents, grandparents, when you see your young ones showing a talent in a particular area, or even a passion. They might not even have a talent for it yet, but a passion. You know, encourage them. Especially in the arts. You know, black people will tend to be more right-brained, creative, right? They have a great imagination and they come up with ideas. Education system is left brain, which is all about conformity and doing it this way, boom, 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 boom. And that's why a lot of our youngsters struggle in school. So
100%.
what we want to do is obviously encourage all the ideas that they have so that they can basically pursue a variety of goals. And guess what? Something is going to hit if they're encouraged in that manner.
Okay. Yes, I'm not too sure. Sorry, I just got distracted by a message there, but it looked like a Jankro message. Almost one of those, one of those uncle kind of emails. I'm a rich prince and I got $20 million, and if you send your number and your bank account, it was one of those messages. It got me distracted. So, yeah. Thank you very much. Our producer got rid of that.
Right.
Just like that.
Well done. Well done.
What else have you got for us, Tony?
So no, that brings our topics to a close. Have you got anything coming up that we should know about? Anything? Any Zoom?
Well, look, yes, I've got an exclusive for you guys. Next week, I'm going to be in Riverside TV Studios. There's a TV program, a black quiz game show, which will feature Jimmy Akinbola as your host, Judy Love as one of your team captains, and also Chizzy Akindulu as one of the other team captains. It's called Sorry I Didn't Know. There's tickets available for studio audiences. I should let you know the details for that in a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be shown on October. So that I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great little show to see some Black history presented in a cheerful and a playful way. And again, it's a family show. I want you to kind of sit down and watch it with your family, and hopefully have a little bit of fun in educating the children and yourselves, and even your grandparents, your parents, as regards to our Black history. And it's just good to see that it's going to be on ITV, not ITV4 or ITV 17. It's going to be on ITV.
Right. So
I'll let you know the actual broadcast dates, but it's being filmed next week, Monday and Tuesday.
Right. So if we want to get tickets, then we're going to have to do it this week, right? Is that correct?
Yes. I'm just going to try and remember the actual thing for the tickets. It's oh gosh almighty. I'm getting to this age now where the brain is not working as good as it used to, It's not working as good as it used to. Let me just see. I've got a message here from Jimmy. I'm just going to try and bring it up. So yeah, you can get tickets from SIDK, that stands for Sorry I Didn't Know, Audience Tickets 2020.eventbrite.co.uk. I'll say that one more time. So it's SIDK, Audience Tickets 2020.eventbrite.co.uk. So if you go in there, you'll be able to get tickets for it, and tickets are free.
Excellent. If you can't remember that, just go to Eventbrite and type in SIDK in the search, and it should come up.
It'll come up, man. So what you got planned for this week, Tony? Anything?
No, bro. I mean, I don't live a superstar lifestyle like you. My life is very, very boring.
Listen, man, I'm living an unemployed superstar lifestyle right now. I've got to say, I've got to big up my son Taylor. It's 18th birthday today, so yeah, man, we just come back from yamming some food, and that's why I'm a little bit sluggish, man. I went to one of them all you can eat, and listen.
Okay.
When you got an 18-year-old, I tell him, eat, man, eat. But I don't see food again until December. Proper, man. But yeah, man, it's a blessing to see another son turn a man. I've just got one more left until he turns a man. And but yeah, it was a little emotional moment for me today.
Yeah, 18 is that age, isn't it? It's that age.
Yeah, man. Of course, man. I told him that legally, when his mum gives him too much jib, now he can tell her to shut up. Okay, you're a man. Your mum gives you don't have to take it no more. You can tell her, shut up, mum, shut up, blood. But as soon as you're finished saying that, know that you must have your own house and key.
well, and you're gonna get a call, isn't it? Did you tell him to tell me to shut up?
Listen, I say yeah, and if he's homeless, then that's it. That's on him, isn't it? I can't come and live on my house.
Knocking on your door.
Oh, Dad, mum, kick me out. Yeah. I said, yeah, she kicked me out too.
So look,
man.
that kind of brings us to the end of the show today.
Let's
We're so
start.
happy to have Daddy Ernie, even for the short time, man. I had 101 questions sort of laid out to ask him, but we'll have to reserve that for another time when we get him back on the show. Mr.
No,
C
man.
had a little come strong at the end.
Yeah, no, it was lovely listening to him and the history of choice. And you know what? I'm glad that he clarified the fact that it wasn't Capital who made the decision to get rid of choice. Because for a long time, I thought I blamed Capital Radio for that. And so it's good to hear him clear that up and clarify, you know, exactly what happened and the history of it, man. And that's why it's important for us to chart our legacy and tell our own stories. Yeah,
and have matters clarified. I'm like you. I thought it was a conspiracy to silence Choice FM because of the effect they were having in the community. I didn't realize that when they went, you know, when they sort of merged, that the first company were basically very interested in keeping that whole thing going.
Yeah.
To wipe it out, you know, and that's the impression I got, you know, from the listener point of view, because all of a sudden you were hearing all these DJs, oh, I left the show, oh, I left the station, until there was no one there, and I thought, oh look, but this was the plan all along. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because
it almost felt like they ethnically cleansed the station at one time.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't like to think conspiratorially, but it just looked that way to me. It just looked like, all right, the brother sold the station, and you know, they promised him, yeah, we're gonna do this and do that, and he was happy with that, so he went. They took over, and as soon as they took up, listen, let's get rid of them, man. There, we don't really want. That's not what we want. That's how it came across to me, but obviously Ernie corrected that and gave us the real story. So yeah, we're glad about that, and we look forward to sort of having him on the show again for a more detailed interview.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Any final words before we step out?
My final words are: listen, people. I think one of the things what I picked up this week was that again, when you're going out and you're being tested for your temperature, please bear in mind that when somebody is aiming a thermometer at your forehead in the shape of a gun, I think it's time to ask them the question: what happened to the wrist? You can't just take it there. Why you want to aim something at my head for? I'm still traumatized by George Floyd, and I feel really my heart pulps anytime a Caucasian person points something at my head. Use my wrist, please. Because what rays are being emitted from that particular gun?
Yeah, we don't know, do we?
Are you a health, are you a trained health specialist? So I prefer if you use it on my wrist rather than where my brain activates and it is working fine. Until now, 2 years later, you're telling me, oh, there was too much particular type of energy in one particular type of thermostat in NASA. So that's me. So. So that's what happened when I went to the restaurant today, and they made me wait outside for 15 minutes while the rest of my sons, they was like, Dad, I'll just get my head done. Don't worry, I'll meet you inside. So they was actually eating by the time I get in there because I was protesting.
And you know, I had a similar experience a couple of weeks ago. Me and a friend went to Nando's, and I thought, oh, just go and order and sit down. No. You need to get your mobile phone out, take a picture of a QR code, then order from your phone, right? Then you go and sit down. They bring a menu. You order from your phone, off the menu. Take a picture of the QR code on the menu, order, and then you wait for your food to come. That's how they do it in Nando's. So after I sat down, I just said, you know what? Nah. I love peri-peri chicken, but not that much, man. And I just got up. But it looks like a lot of these places now, these eateries, are sort of bringing in these policies. You know, I've even been to a wine bar where they say, you know, you got to put your name down, your phone number. No,
yeah.
Track and trace, man. You know, it's like this new world they're bringing in now, where you know they need to know where you've been, who you are, right? No, sir. You know what I mean? Looks like I'm gonna start to eat more packed lunches when I'm going out. You know?
Come on. Well, at least you know who cooked the food.
Yeah, for real. But I do like a Nando's. I won't lie. But I ain't going back there after that palaver. And the thing is, when I passed that, I wondered why it looked empty. I thought, it was a weekend. I thought it looked kind of quiet there. Oh, that's good. Okay, we got some seats. But when I saw the rigmarole it took to have something to eat, I said, "Ooh, no." So I'm not a fan of the New World Order, sadly.
Well, listen, I'm a fan of yours, Tony. So that's all I need to be a fan of for now, mate. Yeah.
I'm a fan of yours, and I'm going to be at that show. I'm going to get myself some free tickets next week. Eventbrite.
Man. Definitely. I'm under pressure, man, because it's like it feels for me. It's like it's been 6 months since I've been out there doing what I do best, man. I'm looking forward to it. But for the first time in like 22 years, I've got a little bit of a nervous little twitch going on there, man.
Right. I say good evening to Julia. Yeah, man, but we're going now. We just you come and we leave. What
Bless you, Julie. Julie, come tell her goodbye. Bless up, man. But listen, Tony, man, thank you so much, man. And apologies to everybody about the technical issues that I was having earlier. But it'll be back to normal next week, man.
Yeah, everything will fix up next week. Everybody fix up. Don't forget, Mr. C, next week, live recording, Eventbrite. Look forward to that.
I just realised I'm gonna have a clash. I'm doing this show next week. Oh my gosh. I'm doing this TV recording next week.
Is that Tuesday?
Yeah, it's Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday.
Listen, man.
I do it live from the studios. I do it live from BBC.
I'm not gonna lie, right? I was waiting for the day that I could have the whole hour to myself, because I got so much chat.
Man.
Take your time.
You can hold a fort, man. I know you can hold a fort, man. Don't worry. You know what? I'll see if Donna's available, and I'll have Donna to be a side.
Yes. She got a lot of good reviews last week. A lot of people were texting me, "Oh, Donna, she's really on it. She knows what she's doing." I said, "Yeah." So let's get her. Let's get her on.
I ain't gonna lie, when I saw the two of your face line up together, I was like,
yeah, man. You don't see the way she was checking me out, man. I saw her look at. I said, "Yes, I know."
Yeah.
She's I love that mind she's got, man. Yeah, definitely. So
she like your mind too, man. Look at that, man.
Listen, mind. You know what I mean? Make two minds.
But listen, man, Tony.
Yeah.
Until next time. Everybody, what a week.
This was What a Week. Tony Crossbody.